It's the battle in the bay as the P1 SuperStock boats go head-to-head. Hello and welcome to Wales, or Croeso i Cymru, as I learned from the locals almost 12 months ago when the P1 SuperStock Championship last came to town. This year the bay is the setting once again, and as before the boats will run in 3 heats, hoping to gain enough points to reach the Superfinal on Sunday. And as this is the penultimate round of the 2015 Championship, every point scored here could prove to be vital. In fact, the high stakes of driving to the limit to win valuable points were in evidence in Hull at the last round. Here's Shelley Jory-Lee with a reminder.
Thanks, Kev. Well, last time out in Hull, the Humber Estuary delivered a fast and relatively flat racecourse, which was great to give the team some respite after Gosport. But the favourable conditions didn't make a predictable weekend's racing.
Very different conditions to Gosport as Flying Panther and GD Environmental go neck and neck for second.
Alan Marine were challenging from the start and doing so well with a first place and a third place in Saturday's races. But this was all to change in the first race on Sunday. Whilst fighting to overtake Flying Panther, Aaron and Gav were ejected from their boat as it flipped at high speed, bringing to an end their hopes of that podium finish.
Tight corner, great racing really. We were really close to Flying Panther all the way out that first straight, got to the top buoy, and it went a bit wrong from there.
Nick Williams and Martin Robinson in Flying Panther drove with confidence and experience all weekend, managing a third in the first race and then 3 second-place finishes over the 4 races on the weekend.
We're really pleased to finish the weekend second and move back up to second in the championship.
Top honours though went to GD Environmental, who were the pick of the bunch as they notched up a second place and 3 first places, giving them the weekend win and, more importantly, 77 points out of a maximum 80 on offer.
Yeah, we've worked hard today, took the pit lap at the crucial moment, knew what we were doing, knew what we had to do, and we did it.
So quite differently to the Humber Estuary, this weekend the action takes place here in Cardiff Bay, which means as a result of the water space available, the boats will be split into groups of 3 or 4 and take part in 3 heat races, hoping to gain enough points to reach the Superfinal on Monday afternoon. So I wondered if this had got any of the drivers and navigators thinking any differently in terms of tactics for the weekend.
A bit different to our normal race. It's a shorter course, it's a very tight, confined situation in the bay here. From a driver's point of view, you know, I've got to be much more aware of where the other boats are and making sure that we stay on the right side of the course, and it's very tight out there.
Usually we take our pit lap when we deem fit. We're here, we're actually told we're defined what pit lap we go on. So it's going to be important to make sure that we're counting the correct laps, making sure that everybody's gone when they have, obviously we don't want to get DQ'd.
The way I do it is I make sure I know when everybody's taking their pit lap, and I keep an eye on the course. The course is close in this time, but John also needs to know exactly where the other boats are so we can position ourselves to improve our position or maintain our position.
It's more GP format, isn't it? I mean, for once we have a proper qualifying lap which decides where we're going to be starting on the grid, so we're looking forward to it. We've just got to go out there and give it our best straight away.
My biggest aim is to make sure we get our pit lap correct and we don't get a DQ or a 2-minute penalty.
Yeah, quietly confident. The weather's not with us. We've had a great race in Hull, changed nothing on the boat, ready to roll, so we're here to win.
And as it's our home race, we've got a lot of people here supporting us and we want to do well.
Flat water, good visibility. Yeah, the showers are around.
So with their final pre-race briefing done, just giving them a little heads up there once again on the course and the weather here today, it's time to head out for qualifying and see how they all do.
It's a very tight circuit here in Cardiff Bay. It's all left-hand turns except one right at the start of the pit lap, which they have to take once during each race. The first qualifying session saw Flying Panther take to the water, along with GD Environmental and Typhoon, crewed by John Donnelly and Kevin Hunt. And it was Taifu who would post the fastest time.
So clearly Kev and John in Taifu there really have got themselves together ahead of this weekend, taking top honours in qualifying and perhaps more importantly, another 20 points to add to their tally. Let's see what they can do now as we head out to the heats.
On to the first round of heats. This is the first of 3. Taifu continuing their fine form from qualifying by taking the checkered flag. The second heat would prove to be a very thrilling affair, with GD Environmental pulling off a fantastic move to grab the win. The third and final heat saw Alan Marine get off to a flyer as they left Pickfords trailing in their wake. And they held on to top spot all the way to the flag. All the qualifying completed and we're ready for the first race in this very picturesque location. It's not the best of starts for P1 Network as they appear to be bogged down and can only watch as Arthur J. Gallagher, Alan Marine and Quantum Racing power ahead. They look to be motoring now though, but it's Arthur J. Gallagher with the advantage of the inside line. P1 Network into second, but they have Alan Marine very close by on their right. John Wilson and Daisy Coleman on the power. And they drift out, and that may just let Alan Marine through on the inside as they both look to exit the turn quickly. Kevin Burdock and Andy Wilby with it all to do in Quantum Racing, not helped by their starting position, but they are coming up strongly on the outside of Alan Marine. The P1 Network going over the wash created by Arthur J. Gallagher, and they are going to try and squeeze inside the race leaders and take top spot from them. That was close. Quantum Racing still trying to pass Alan Marine. P1 Network lining up another shot at Arthur J. Gallagher, but the race leaders defending their territory and not leaving any doors open for their rivals to exploit. This time they swing it out wide and try and turn in sharply while maintaining their speed, but it doesn't look to have worked, this time at least. Looking down upon Alan Marine. They've knocked and tried to chip away at Arthur J. Gallagher, but it looks like P1 Network will have to settle for second place. Victory goes to Arthur J. Gallagher, but their joy could be short-lived as they took their pit lap too late. A 2-minute penalty for Arthur J. Gallagher for taking their pit lap too late relegates them to 4th, and P1 Network take the win. Visit Wales, Taifu, Pickfords and GD Environmental on next on the water. Taifu off to a flyer once again. Following his debut in Hull, Gary Coleman once again navigates alongside David Toos Hobson. Taifu, the early race leaders with GD Environmental seemingly in second, but Visit Wales going for the inside line at the turn, but unable to move up a place. Taifu keep it tight and GD Environmental get a mouthful of spray for their troubles, but still maintaining second ahead of Visit Wales. This would appear to be the strongest performance of any Taifu team since they joined the P1 SuperStock Championship a few years ago. Vince and Jade Berridge in Visit Wales providing the pictures. John Donnelly and Kevin Hunt in Taifu looking absolutely magnificent out front. The checkered flag is ready and waiting to greet our race winners, Taifu. Taifu with the win, but big points for GD Environmental, who are still in the hunt for the championship title. The third heat of this round of races was contested by 3 craft. New Wave Racing, who went so well in Hull, had to settle for third behind Leica Mobile and race winners Flying Panther.
So after a great first day's racing here in Cardiff Bay and those qualifying runs and then the heats, it's Kev Hunt and John Donnelly and Taifu who take top honours, gaining a maximum 60 points. Just behind them is GD Environmental, and in third place, Flying Panther on 52. One more set of heat races tomorrow, then all the points get added up and we'll see who will be the teams that make it through to the Superfinal. Welcome back to day 2 here in Cardiff, where the P1 SuperStock boats are getting set to go once again. And some of the teams were able to enjoy the hospitality of the local area last night, and some of the others, well, they were up all night on the spanners.
They certainly were. Alan Marine have completely re-rigged a new boat. They took the spare boat and they've taken the engine off the old boat, put it on the new boat. They've been up all night, doing a lot of wiring, a lot of re-rigging. It's no mean feat.
The other big story of the day yesterday was Taifu. Kev and John, they said they got together as a team, they worked out what they needed to do, and they clearly did it. They took top points yesterday.
Absolutely amazing. The boat's got great acceleration. You've got a very experienced driver there, John Donnelly, and it's great at cornering, and he knew that this was his time, and they certainly did it.
Well, let's see what they can do today, because don't forget, we've got one more set of heat races to go, and then it's all about getting enough points to make it through to that super final. That's the top 4 boats, and then the next 4 boats in the order, they'll go into a playoff or plate final. So let's go and see how they're all doing.
This was always going to be our key event. It's a lot of tight corners, there's no long straights in it, so there's no way any of the other boats can get away from us.
It's the attitude into the corners, it's the entrance into the corners that's the key on this stuff. This was going to be our event. We were hyped up for it before we even got here, and yeah, we're really enjoying this.
It all started in Hull. Unfortunately, had the accident, rolled the boat, spent quite a bit of time underwater. Got the boat back from Hull. Big effort to get it repaired, all sorted. Yesterday morning, thought we were onto a winner, everything was running. And unfortunately, we lifted the boat at the end of the day yesterday, and there's a big section of hull missing. Pulled an all-nighter. There's been a whole team of us going all night, and we have basically swapped the engine from our other boat onto a spare boat. We've done steering, control cables, wiring, fuel tanks, oil tanks, swapped the engine across, jack plate across. Absolutely everything has come from the other boat onto this one, just to get us to run today.
We've got the rest of today to go, and then we've got Bournemouth. Are you going to make it to win it again, to regain that title?
We'll certainly be doing our best. I don't know if we'll get right to the top. It's extremely tight between the top 3 boats. We're currently sat in 4th position, hoping at the end of the weekend to be up in 3rd and creeping in on 2nd, ready for a bit of drama in Bournemouth.
A P1 race weekend certainly is a great spectacle, but events like this one can mean so much more for the local area or host city.
I think it's very important that we put Wales on the map, and I believe that this competition does that. We always want to give a warm welcome to sports like this. So it's very exciting, it's a good public spectacle, and that's very important because people like the opportunities to see things like this, not just on TV but live.
I think from last year there's a big improvement, okay, and I hope that now that people can see this actually and the way the setup is, I believe that next year is going to be a blowout.
So Taifu took top points yesterday after 2 rounds of heat racing. 1 heat to go today. Let's see what they can do alongside the other boats as we head out for Heat 3.
The first heat of the 3rd round of races pitched Quantum, Visit Wales, Leica Mobile and Flying Panther together. And it was Flying Panther who took a fairly straightforward win. In the second heat, there would be a coming together between New Wave and Potemps Network. And it meant both boats being disqualified from the result and potentially damaging John Wilson and Daisy Coleman's championship challenge. So Taifu triumph ahead of Alan Marine. Arthur J. Gallagher, Pickford's and GD Environmental contested the final heat. And it was a win for James Norval and Charlie Parsons-Young.
So some incredibly close racing there at the end of the heat races. The fans just down there by the Norwegian church were getting wowed as the guys whizzed by. But top honours go to Taifu, who scooped another 20 points, putting them at the top of the standings as we head into the Super Final and Plate Final. Let's see how the rest of them stacked up.
The top 4 of these go through to the Super Final, with the next 4 in the plate competition. Had Pertemps Network not been disqualified, they would have made the Super Final. As it is, they're contesting this best of the rest race. Stuart and Sarah Curitan in Leica Mobile with a solid start, but it's Visit Wales who appear to be leading. However, Pertemps Network do have the advantage of the inside line into the turn. We ride with Vince and Jade Berridge, father and daughter, as they seek to gain the lead, but it is in the hands of John Wilson and Daisy Coleman. Just behind them, Pickfords are looking to push inside Visit Wales. They're through, so Pickfords push past. On board with Visit Wales, who are trying to maintain a high speed around the turns by staying wide of the boys, but that looks to have allowed Leica Mobile to go into third. Pertemps Network looking strong. Pickford second, and they're side by side for third. Both Visit Wales and Leica Mobile close to one another, but managing to stay apart. Sarah Curitan relaying vital information to husband Stuart. Leica Mobile have the advantage going into the turn, and they push through to third. So after a promising start, Visit Wales are pushed back to 4th place. Pertemps Network still setting the pace out front. Pickford's taking their pit lap, which every craft have to do at least once in the race. Jade Berridge back alongside her father here in Cardiff, having missed the last round of the championship at Hull. It's delight for John Wilson and Daisy Coleman following the disappointment of being disqualified. They win the plate final here in Cardiff. In terms of points, Pertemps Network are awarded what equates to a 5th place finish overall, ahead of Pickford's, Leica Mobile and Visit Wales. Green flag means go, and that's exactly what they are doing as the Super Final in Cardiff bursts into life. A perfect start by all 4 by the looks of things. That may just favour Flying Panther as they have the inside. Alan Marine now dropping back. They may just struggle in this one. Nick Williams and Martin Robinson looking super quick, with Taifu just to their right and GD Environmental just to their right as well. Taifu can't cut across. They have to leave the gap there. It's developing into a 3-way scrap. Taifu not as neat as Flying Panther, and that looks to have forced GD Environmental out as well. They will try and push inside now, though, and that's what they're doing. This could work against Taifu, as they like the tight inside line around the turns, but they can't do that right now, as the space thereafter is occupied by Flying Panther. Don't be surprised if Taifu take their pit lap at the first opportunity. GD Environmental, meanwhile, shaping up for another attempt of going fast and tight around the turn. Taifu look like they're perfected that one as they try and push on. But here come GD Environmental as well, and they too look to have got it just right as they go inside Flying Panther. So Nick Williams and Martin Robinson appeared to have suffered a double whammy, and in one corner have gone from 1st to 3rd. But how close is this between GD Environmental and Taifu? They're both going for the inside, and this is where the 2 navigators really come into play, keeping those boats apart but trying to maintain or gain a position. And how close is that? Taifu held their nerve and have been rewarded with 1st place. GD Environmental may have just held off there. We'll have to wait and see later on if that was the case. Meanwhile, Flying Panther are still very much in the picture and trying everything they can to at least move back into 2nd spot. Thrilling, thrilling racing. This is the view from Flying Panther. Kevin Hunt looking back to see where their rivals are. John Donnelly totally focused. This is the replay. Oh, that is very close. GD Environmental, last year's P1 champions, not only in the UK, but in the US Championship as well. The overnight changes for Alan Marine have not worked out as they'd hoped. There's been no one to touch Taifu all weekend, and they'd be disappointed not to win this one. The best P1 weekend ever for Taifu is about to reach its climax. It's victory for John Donnelly and Kevin Hunt. And that's what it means to win in this championship. GD Environmental hold off Flying Panther for second place, with Alan Marine back in fourth, and a dominant win for Taifu. With one round to go, it looks now to be between Flying Panther and Potemps Network as to who will be champions.
It's been a long time coming, a lot of work put into the boat. It's all paid off this weekend. Fantastic result. Can't do any better than that.
Really good result, great racing in Cardiff. We did what we need to do, and we're looking forward to Bournemouth. We've taken our lead in the championship now to 16 points.
We're getting there. It's what we wanted. Climbing back up the ladder, getting back up the series. So look out IFX.
So there we go, an end to another fantastic weekend's racing here on P1 SuperStock, and it was an emphatic victory, Shelley, for Taifu, winning the qualifying, the heats and the Superfinal.
It was an incredible weekend for Taifu. With all my time with P1, I've never seen Taifu take the Grand Prix.
Yeah, top step of the podium.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well done to those boys. And in terms of the championship, we head to Bournemouth for the season finale. It's now wide open, really, or it's going to be close between Flying Panther and Potemps.
Yep, and I think you've got GD Environmental in there in the mix a little bit, but it is going to be very, very close. And as we know, Bournemouth can go either way. We can be flat, we can be rough. I couldn't call it at this stage. It's going to be a great finale.
Well, the best thing is I'm not going to make you call it at this point in time. What we're going to do is just wait a couple of weeks until we head to Bournemouth then for that season finale. But for now, from all of us here in Cardiff, myself, Kev, and Shelley and all the team, see ya.
See ya.